Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Marlene Cuellar.
And I'm Christina Coc. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
It's Monday, the very last day in the month of January 2022. And time flies fast, Marlene.
Yeah.
1 month down, 11 more to go.
Steaming forward into 2022. Feel like you barely get a moment to catch your breath, huh?
And for most of us Belizeans, we're still very much recovering financially from MAGA season, right? At least we're at the end of this
January is one of the longest months. It actually was. It's a 5-week month.
Indeed it was.
So it has been a tough time for people. There's so much I know that we have been dealing with over the past 2 years, and there's still a lot of hope for 2022.
Yes. There's a lot more optimism for 2022 than perhaps 2021. The only hope and the good news that we kind of embraced last year was the advent of the vaccine and its introduction to Belize, right? So that I think that was something that we looked forward to last year. I think for the remainder of the year, we're looking forward to a more normalized way of life, if I may. I mean, notwithstanding the fact that we are still in the pandemic, but some people are already signaling the end or what appears to be the light at the end of the tunnel in respect of COVID-19.
Well, definitely there is hope for it. And I think we did start 2021 with that hope. So I think it's a cautious optimism at this point because, COVID just keeps going and going. But we got a lot to discuss today. It is a Monday morning, and we want to thank you for joining us. It is still cool, not as cold as it was yesterday, but lovely weather to start off the day.
We got showers of blessings this morning, actually.
That is such a glass half full response, because I was glass half empty, where I said, man, the rain come broke up the cold front. Right?
Well, the beauty for me, what I can't complain about this morning is that I hadn't gotten the opportunity to water my plants in a while.
All right.
And rainwater does wonders with plants, right? So there
you go. But it still is nice and comfortable. I have to say that much.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep moving. Of course, we want to get into some of the news for the week. And for now, we are going to get you motivated to start your day off right. And that means it's time for Eye Opener. And our Eye Opener is taken from dailyom.com, and it goes like this. Silence can make us nervous thinking we need to fill the void. But there is immense strength in silence. All sounds form a whisper to a classical symphony, arise out of silence and disappear into silence. But silence is always there beneath sound, and is the space where sound can exist. We tend to think of silence as the absence of sound, but silence has its own weight and quality. When you listen to silence, you can perceive its intense depth and power. Taking the time to experience silence calms the mind and rejuvenates the body. Silence is the void where we can hear the many sounds that we often ignore. The voice of our intuition telling us the truth. The sound of the breeze blowing, the hum of the radiator, and the noises we make just because we are alive. At night, choose a moment after everyone around you is retired and tune into silence. You can also experience silence throughout the day. Even in the midst of activity, moments of silence are always present. Usually, we ignore or feel nervous around silence and try to fill these moments with sound. Yet silence is always there, vast, potent, and available for us to step into anytime we choose.
I'll begin first by acknowledging that silence is indeed very powerful, right? They say when you meditate, you do so in silence. That way you're able to absorb either the natural sounds around you, or you're better able to tap into your inner energy, so to speak. Silence does that. Silence can also be the most intimidating thing in a manner of speaking. When you're in a dispute with your loved one, right? And you choose to remain quiet and not talk to each other for a while until something brings you back to being able to discuss. In the intervening time, as we say, the silence is deafening, right? That's another way of looking at it. But in terms of being able to appreciate the power of silence, Marlene, when you, like the eye opener says, the people around you retire for the night and you're up alone, for instance, you hear a different sound, and it's the sound that your mind tells you, okay, everything is at peace, everything is in a sense of calm, so you're able to take in what's happening around you in that particular space, be it the crickets chirping or the dogs barking at a distance or whatsoever. But what that does is it allows you to be able to be at one with yourself as well. And I think it ties back to meditation, right? Yeah. The idea of just sitting there and just taking it all in without saying something, right? It's the most, to me, it's the most powerful thing.
Oh, yes, I completely agree. And I think in many different ways it's powerful. One, it can be useful, as you said, in being able to kind of take that moment, whether it's meditative, whether it's, sometimes I love how it talks about how you can become more conscious of your body and hear your breathing. You can hear if you're breathing fast, take more control, slow it down. Really key part of being able to be present in a moment. But it can also be really uncomfortable for people. You know, I think sometimes silence is louder than anything else. When you sit in quiet, or you take a pause in a conversation, and there's, you know, for TV it would be dead air. It's so weighted, you know, with anticipation and questions as to what's to come next. So I think that it's a great, you know, when we think of honoring people, we think of giving them a moment of silence. That pause in all the activity that takes place around us to be able to honor them. So I think it is a powerful tool, one that's hard to master, but helpful nonetheless.
Silence creates suspense. You think about stepping into a room filled with people, but when you open the door and you come in, everyone goes quiet. It starts to, you know, weigh on your mind, okay, are they, you know, what are they thinking, or what's happening next? So if you're watching a movie, for instance, and the editors or the people who are in the movie just, you know, take that pause, go quiet, it leaves the viewer with a sense of suspense. What's coming next? What's going to happen? Right? So that's the beauty and the power of silence.
Well, it's why we always rave about early mornings, right? When we're here. How much we both love being out early in the morning, because there is this, I mean, you do hear the natural sounds of your neighborhood, whether that's a barking dog or a rooster or whatever else there may be. But sometimes being able to hear the wind and being able to kind of give yourself that moment for clarity of thought, it does wonders. Highly encourage it. All right, we're going to get moving to find out about our weather for today. We have Angelia Guy on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm okay, and you?
Not too bad. We're commenting on how great the weather is. Does it continue today?
Yes, we should have continuing good weather for the next couple of days.
All right, so what's our 24-hour forecast?
For the next 24 hours, it's mainly fair weather to prevail, with only isolated showers, if any.
And or winds?
Winds will be from the east and northeast today at 10 to 20 knots.
Now let's talk about our temperatures. What are our highs?
Okay, we'll We still have some cool air over us, so high temperatures today will peak at about 78 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 80 inland, and 70 in the hills.
All right,
And then
for tonight?
tonight, the low temperatures will fall to about 74 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 66 inland, and 60 in the hills.
Okay. So what's the extended forecast? Is this the end of the cold front?
Yes, we already have the winds, the air flowing back from the east and northeast today, and then we expect the winds to return generally east and southeasterly during the rest of the week. So temperatures should gradually warm up.
Okay. And what about showers? It'll be dry, or we'll still get some isolated showers?
It's looking mostly dry. You can expect maybe 1 or 2 showers here and there, as we expect strong or moderate winds, so that might bring in pockets of moisture later on.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that update.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Thank you, too.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, it's over.
Well, it's not like we expect, since we don't have like the full 4 seasons
Yeah.
like other places in the world, we don't expect that the little cold that comes around comes to stay, right? We don't get
Yeah.
a full season of it. It's just fleeting.
That is true. That is true. But we always invite it to stay longer
Yeah.
than it's actually planning to stick around. But I got to say that this much, I'll take our weather any day over the snowstorms we saw in the
Oh,
north.
yeah.
Man, I fell for them.
The East Coast just got inundated with snow over the weekend.
Record-breaking
Yeah.
temperatures. I think it goes back to the wider conversation of how we're seeing changing patterns in our weather.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about it locally with droughts and historic floods, but you still continue to see on a yearly basis that there's always this new weather phenomenon that takes place that's breaking records that it never did before. And the winter storm in the north was one of those.
I have a friend of mine who lives in Long Island, New York, and over the weekend he was mentioning that for the past 18 years he hasn't seen snow that thick and high. So they got 13 inches of snowfall over the weekend, and some of the images that he shared, it's a blanket of white everywhere, and it's amazing. I haven't seen that since 2005 when I left Chicago. I'm good.
Yeah, so I said I'll be grateful for the weather that we have. Leave me with our 70 and 60 degree weather. All right, we got to get moving into our show. There's a whole lot of news to unpack, so we're going to shift gears to Eye on the News.
I want to begin our conversation this morning with an incident over the weekend that, for all intents and purposes, Marlene, was a viral moment. We found out that the gravesite for Joseph Tanga James had been plundered by tomb raiders overnight on Saturday. The backdrop is that he was being laid to rest earlier that day, and his friends and family, in terms of sending him off, placed cash, perhaps other jewelry items, and a bottle of liquor inside his casket. And this was live streamed. So thousands of persons who are tuned into Facebook were able to watch virtually the funeral service and the interment of Tanga. And as you can see there's this one individual who's just putting in loads of cash into the casket. Well, several things that stood out in terms of what happened here. This kind of practice is not new to us, right? If you look back and I kind of compare it to the ancient Egyptian history, where you have pharaohs who are buried with ornate, gold and other forms of jewelry and other items or effects that they would carry along with them into the afterlife. This is part of their belief system. In Belize, and I guess in other parts of the world, it's a similar practice where you bury your loved ones with certain things that you want them to be able to enjoy in the afterlife. But the fact that this was live streamed and people were watching keenly as to what was taking place made it rather easy for persons to, one, identify where the gravesite was at the Lordridge Cemetery, and of course, they took that opportunity to go and break into the gravesite overnight. Now, this of course is during the curfew hours, right? Because from 12 to 4, persons are supposed to remain indoors based on the existing regulations. But nonetheless, like I said, someone or some group of people decided that they would break into the tomb and remove the items that were there. So I'm putting that there because, like I said, it's a very talked about incident that happened over the course of the weekend. A lot of people you're sharing the video. A lot of people are commenting on what took place. And Tanga, as you know, was executed in gangland fashion the week before in a bold mid-morning incident here in Belize City.
Yeah, of course. No, I know it definitely has been buzzing. The fact that, well, I think that from the funeral, the sheer size of the crowd itself, there were questions about COVID controls, COVID protocols, that is, the large gathering that was allowed to take place. It is a story that has captured, I think, the public conversation because of social media arguments that have taken place based more on his personal life. So he had become well known. And many people were tuning in, I think, for kind of the family drama behind it. But that did lead, in fact, to people targeting his gravesite to be able to take from it what they saw being put along with him as he was being buried. And you know, that's a very taboo thing for all of us. You know, you don't disturb the dead. That's really
site.
So I think it was twofold. It was the person involved and all these circumstances around it, but it's also one of those, you know, we don't go there. We don't disturb people that we have laid to rest.
So that was the first thing, Marlene. So on to other things that we're looking forward to this week. So tomorrow, Tuesday, the 1st of February at 10 a.m., a new leader of the opposition is set to be installed. And I say new, but he's a returning leader of the opposition, if I want to put it that way, the 15th leader of the opposition. And this is Moses Shine Barrow, the area representative for Mesopotamia, who has garnered the support of his colleagues in the House of Representatives, and of course, over the course of the weekend, the Caucus for Change, which is an organization within the United Democratic Party, met and they gave Shine their unwavering support in terms of him being the next leader of the opposition. Of course, all of this is set against what has transpired in respect of the former or the outgoing leader of the opposition who, as far as we know, is yet to tender his letters, and this needs to be confirmed, but the official letters of resignation from the post as a leader of the opposition and of course the post as party leader are to be submitted by Patrick Faber to the Governor General and of course to the chairman of the United Democratic Party respectively, and he had given a timeline last Monday that those would be in by today. We understand, Marlene, that nonetheless he is out of the country at the moment. So we have to see if those will be submitted by email or how or what will happen in respect of his resignation.
Well, what a week it's been for the United Democratic Party, and this is really kind of starting off the week with yet another move that will definitely cause for a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
Several reasons for that. Of course, we did have Honorable Shine Barrow on the show on Friday. One of the questions that's been raised is about whether or not who should be the deputy leader.
Yeah.
When we interviewed Honorable Tracy Pantel, and she spoke, the other aspiring leader, she spoke of the UDP constitution, which says that naturally the post in the House of Representatives should go to the deputy leader, and if he doesn't want it, then it should go to the most senior, which would be her. That's the UDP constitution. When the hosts, April and John, spoke with Mr. Barrow on Friday, he spoke of the national constitution, which they are being which they are being guided by. So there's already a bit of discrepancy there about how this process should have unfolded. The Caucus for Change, I should note, is a body that represents 19 area representatives. It includes 19. So it's not everyone from the UDP, and it's also not necessarily the delegates who will vote at the party leader convention, whenever that should be. Assumptions are March, but we're not sure yet. So there definitely are some moves taking place. We know that Shine has spoken about going out and meeting with different individuals. The press release from the Caucus for Change said that they met with both aspiring leaders, and they are now putting their support behind Shine Barrow. So here we are again. And then we saw a post from Tracy saying that she maintains her bid for the leadership of the party. So
it's going to be an interesting next few weeks. As a matter of fact, it's going to be an interesting next few days. I say that because Friday, the 4th of February, is scheduled to be a sitting of the House of Representatives, the first for the new year 2022. And we're not certain how long Patrick Faber will be out of the country, as to whether or not he will be at Friday's House meeting or he'll sit this one out. But I mean, there's a lot that has happened on the opposition side, so I'm certain that, you know, that will be to some extent perhaps touched on in the House meeting this coming Friday. So that's another thing that we can look forward to in the next coming days.
But I don't want to gloss over the announcement on Friday as well, where Hugo Pat also endorsed Shine Barrow. And that's an interesting development because, you know, I think the questions around the selection of who will be the leader of the opposition in the House is interesting, and being able to understand why, one, the deputy party leader who accepts the role of deputy party leader doesn't want to step up to be the leader when the post is vacant, and also how he made his choice about who he would support for that post.
What is interesting, Marlene, is that it would be the second time that the deputy leader has passed on that role of the leader of the opposition to Shine Barrow. It's the second time in less than a year, if you look at it from that point of view. When Patrick Faber was embroiled in a previous scandal last year, the same thing happened. And so from what we understand is that when it came down to a vote, that Tracy had abstained at that point, right? And so this time around, she has openly expressed her interest in becoming the next leader of the United Democratic Party, and by extension, the leader of the opposition. But as we've mentioned, all of this against the fact that it hasn't been confirmed that March will in fact be the month for the next convention within the party for the leadership selection.
Well, I think after the drama of last week, you know, many would assume that they would want to get over this period as quickly as possible. But that also is, I mean, I think we definitely have to be able to acknowledge that leadership races are very challenging times for a party, because it is dividing a party that should be united under one particular ideology, but they are being divided. I mean, if we go back to the Saldivar-Faber race, and even the fallout of the recall convention that was held, there's some really turbulent times ahead for the
Yeah.
UDP unless they move towards the full endorsement of one person. And currently, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, like we've acknowledged, we've accepted that the next few weeks will be interesting to see how things play out. It would be the third time that the party would find itself, kind of going against itself in terms of the candidates who are pitting themselves for office. As you rightfully mentioned, the initial one was the convention that was held twice in a few months with the John Saldivar and the Patrick Farber scenario, right? I want to use that word. And then there was the recall, which kind of divided the party once again. And now here we are again, getting ready for what seems to be another stiff competition.
Yeah, and I just, as outsiders looking in, I mean, when you look at the circumstances, Saldivar was challenged once again, asked to resign because of being named in the Lev Derman case. And that was enough of a scandal to lead towards the next convention. The vote of no confidence was based on a video of a domestic violence incident for Farber. Shine stepped up temporarily. I think it was like 2 months, essentially, that he stepped up he was endorsed as the leader of the opposition at that time. So there was a leader of the opposition and a party leader at the same time. And now we have a resignation once again from the leader of the UDP. Looking at it, I think that there is a whole lot of work that has to be done, whoever
certainly
the new leader is. And I think both internally and looking at the image of the party as well. It's unfortunate they didn't have sufficient succession planning to kind of know who would be moving up the ranks, but here they are now. And as I said, leadership conventions can be very testy times. So we'll keep on reporting as to what's taking place, and we'll see who they decide is best fit to be their next leader of the party.
The last bit of information I wanted to touch on briefly has to do with the postponement of the opening of the land borders. I know that it was initially scheduled for the 1st of February, which would have been tomorrow, but they've moved it back a week, and so it is now set for the 7th of February. Again, this is also against the backdrop of the rise in numbers, or perhaps in some areas, the tapering of numbers of new COVID infections in respect of the Omicron variant. And I know that this would be essentially the second postponement in about a period of 2 months or so that the Briceño administration has decided to kind of hold off on reopening its terrestrial borders.
Yeah, by 1 week. So this is, it was originally supposed to be at the start of the year. And I know there were recommendations made by the medical advisors for several reasons. One, we were moving directly into another wave of Omicron, but also because school was reopening. And so they wanted to allow some time for that to be able to normalize as well. What we do know so far, while we haven't received all the protocols for the movement across the land border, is that the Prime Minister has gone ahead and said that it will be vaccinated persons only. So you will have to show proof of vaccination to be able to exit the country via the land borders. A lot of people are anticipating. I know last week we reported that Quintana Roo was moving into their amber phase, which is kind of the second highest alert phase for COVID-19. We'd have to see whether or not that continues this week, or if they've been able to kind of get things under control.
I can recall the initial announcement that the borders were set to be opened. There were businesses, hotels, and other establishments in Chetumal that were already prepared to welcome Belizeans back. And then the sudden
that image
change,
from Los Cocos with the Belize-themed decoration. There is no doubt that specifically the community of Chetumal is heavily reliant on business from Belize. I recall a few years, it might be quite a few years ago, where once the numbers that were tabulated, it was twice the population size of Belize, moved across the border in terms of numbers on a yearly basis. That's how many trips are made across the border. So, people go for many different reasons to be able to purchase stuff for recreation. Medical purposes. So it has become, so they are heavily reliant on us. And I know they are more than eager to welcome us back into Chetumal. But as we said, we're still awaiting the full details of the protocol, although some have been explained with the vaccination, and that there may be testing requirements if you stay more than 48 hours, they had indicated. So those are still that's still information that we're waiting on. The situation in Belize with COVID, though, is that we seem to be, and I want to be very cautious about saying this, we're still seeing high numbers, but not as high as we saw in the previous weeks.
We saw numbers going as high as 1,000 per day. Now we're in the 900s, which is a slight dip, but a dip to be recorded nonetheless.
Well, on Friday, it was just about 700. So, when we interviewed the epidemiologist last week, he said he feels that we're in the peak, we're going to keep high numbers, and then we're going to start to see a decline. That means hopefully it continues this way. Do want to caution people that there are still 9,000 active cases out there, so it's not a time to be able to say, oh, we can be casual about our interactions. Over the hump. We must maintain our safety protocols so that we can be able to get through the rest of this wave. And most importantly, I think the World Health Organization, PAHO, all health officials are saying, stop calling it mild. You can't call it mild. Several reasons. You don't know the long-term effects. People are struggling with long-haul COVID, and there are still hospitalizations taking place, and people are still losing their lives. So it is important that you're able to maintain your protocols, protect yourself and your loved ones as you move forward. And I know the buzz internationally, as we spoke with Dr. Manzanero on Wednesday, is that there is a new variant. No classification as yet. It's called the stealth Omicron, BA2. Wow. And
if Omicron wasn't stealthy enough in the first instance.
Well, this one is there's some research coming out. As I said, there's no official classification by the World Health Organization. They're looking into it. It's become a dominant variant in some parts of Europe. The concern with this version of the Omicron is that it's not being as easily detected in some of the traditional testing. So that's where they are with that, and I'm sure we're going to get more information. The international press has been talking about it, so we'll all see articles popping up everywhere about stealth Omicron.
Yeah, I hazard to think of what other variants will come down the pipeline, but the times we're living in.
And that's that was always the concern. When you have a lot of people having COVID at one time, you have more possibility of variants being detected.
Yeah.
All
right, so.
But there is one more story I do know that is buzzing. I know the press in the UK have been reporting that, in fact, there is a scheduled visit, that there is a visit coming from the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Will and Kate, who everyone knows, and this is from a few outlets who've reported it in the UK, saying that they are planning a Caribbean tour, and that tour will include Belize. They did quote some persons from Amberg Risky who said that the preparatory work has begun.
Yes, indeed.
And that they've asked it to be quiet. And I love the part in the article where they're like, well, this is a small island, so nothing is really secret. Just a bit of warning there, right?
Yeah. There we go.
But that visit, according to the media reports out of the UK, should be in March.
All right. So members of the royal family will be making a stop in Belize in the month of March. So I guess it's something for us to look forward to. Those of us who follow the movements of those in the royal family.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's interesting, too, that they are doing a Caribbean tour. If we broaden the context there, let's not forget that Barbados made the historic decision to be able to separate themselves from the monarchy and became a republic last year. I know that's been something that's been loosely discussed in Belize with politicians for a while. So when you see the representatives of the monarchy now making a tour within Caribbean islands where you recently had one break away, it kind of feels like it's a reinforcement of a relationship taking place.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, just the perspective there, right?
Yes. All right, so that brings us to the end of our Ireland News segment this morning. Remember, you'll catch these stories in full at 6 p.m. on our evening newscast. And you can catch it on Channel 5. And of course, it'll be streamed on Facebook. You can also catch it online on YouTube. That does it for the Ireland News.
And with that, we have to get moving into our show. And there is even more news to discuss, but we saved this one because we're having a broader conversation about it. Our first conversation?
We're going to have a virtual discussion with the spokesperson for the Toledo Alcaldes Association, the Maya Leaders Alliance, and attorney Leslie Mendez. Now, this certainly is based on the news that came out at the end of last week in respect of the Maya land rights issue and the free, prior, and informed consent protocol that has been approved on by the government of Belize. That's our first conversation this morning.
All right, and the second part of the show, it's the Chinese New Year.
The Year of the Tiger.
That's right. Now, so if you haven't gotten started on your resolutions, you can just restart now and say this is the beginning of your year. But it is a wonderful time. You're going to hear quite a bit of celebration, and we're going to get the details about it, but even more so, we're going to be making some usual treats that people have around this time. So we're going to be talking about the Chinese New Year in the second part of our show. We'll take that break now, but before we do, we got a birthday shout out.
We are saying happy birthday to Frank Innes.
All right,
There
Frank.
he is.
Have a great day today from all of us here at Channel 5, and open your eyes. We'll take that break, and we will be back in a few.
The ministry is collaborating with SpeedNet Communications to have a vaccination campaign for children ages 12 to 17 years. Children who get vaccinated will get a chance to win fabulous prizes, including backpacks with supplies, Nintendo Switch, tablets, book tuitions, and MiFi with 3 months data. Only children 12 to 17 years old can participate in this Smart and Ministry of Health and Wellness raffle. At vaccination sites, each vaccinated child, upon being vaccinated, will receive a ticket to place their name, age, date of birth, BHIS number, and contact information on, which will be filled out by a parent or legal guardian. The sooner a person vaccinates, the more chances he or she will have to win. Get vaccinated, Belize! Vaccination saves lives.
After a rough week of school, Jake and his friends decide to treat themselves to frozen coffee. And since they don't have cash on them, they decide to use eCash. With eCash's geolocation feature, Jake can easily find the nearest coffee spot. With eCash's built-in option to split bills, Jake can pay the bill and his friends can reimburse their portion of the bill. Jake scans the merchant's code and confirms payment. Jake then views his transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made, then taps the Split the Bill button where he selects the Evenly option to evenly split the bill. The application splits the bill automatically. His friends receive and accept the request. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash makes Jake enjoy his digital lifestyle.
Why should you wear your mask? To protect myself. My friends. My family and others. I wear my mask because I love my grandparents. With so many reasons to wear a mask, we continue to advise persons to wear a face mask properly, covering both nose and mouth. Together, we can keep Belize COVID-19 safe.
If you're looking for low-cost television advertising, have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you save valuable time and money. Call us today at 223-0146 or visit us at our offices on Pony Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
And welcome back. Our conversation, as we mentioned prior to the commercial break, is with the spokesperson for the Toledo Alcaldes Association / the Maya Leaders Alliance. And this, of course, has to do with the latest developments in respect of the Maya land rights issue down south. That being said, we have joining us virtually from Mountain Pine Ridge, we have with us Christina Coc. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning.
Okay, so let's first of all begin by catching up with what has been taking place. I know that on Friday there was a press conference that was held by the MLA and the TAA in respect of what's been taking place. And of course, preceding that was the cabinet brief in which the government has essentially said that it has given its approval for the FPIC protocol. And of course, you guys have raised your strong objections as to what happened there. For the sake of our viewers who may not have been in tune with what's been taking place, can you give us the background as to where we are now and how we are where we are?
Okay, sure. You know, the Maya people of Southern Belize have been very adamantly trying to get the government of Belize to implement the 2015 Caribbean Court of Justice order, which affirms their rights to their lands and resources in the 41 Maya communities. Now, back in 2018, we were able to advance to the point of developing a roadmap, so to speak, a framework in which we would implement the decision. One of the points of that agreement between the government of Belize and the appellants was that we would develop a free, prior, informed consent protocol.
Okay, it seems that we are having a bit of technical difficulty there. We're joined by Christina. Christina is in Mountain Pine Ridge at this time, so we do hope that the internet will work with us in the conversation. Christina, just let us know when you can hear us once again.
All right, so just to kind of go back over some of the information here, as she mentioned, in 2015, the Caribbean Court of Justice affirmed that the indigenous community does in fact have rights over communal land use, right? But there's been a process that has been undertaken by the government of Belize, notwithstanding the fact that the administrations have changed, but the process is ongoing. Initially, there was a commissioner that was selected by the previous administration, and since the People's United Party took office in 2020, they have appointed a new commissioner in the person of Greg Chuck. He is no stranger to the media and to Belize. He was once executive director of SATIM. All right. So in terms of both parties being able to work together to put forward the free, prior, and informed consent protocol, the FPIC, which will be sort of the guiding document in terms of how persons would be able to interface with the respective communities in terms of the use of land, communal land, sorry.
Yeah.
And what's been interesting about this, as they've mentioned repeatedly, it's a fight that has spanned over 30 years, right? And so you look at the history of it, Marlene, from persons such as Julian Cho, who are instrumental in bringing awareness to the plight of the Maya, where land use and rights are concerned, to now people like Pablo Miss and Christina and the broader membership of the Toledo Alcaldes Association. Well, you gotta put that there for context, but the broader picture also shows you that there is controversy over this particular matter.
Yeah.
Not only in the past with the government of Belize itself, but there seems to be sort of a polarization within the Maya community itself.
Yeah. And with that, we have Christina back on the line. We got an opportunity to set the backdrop for the conversation there, Christina. But you were saying?
Well, thank you, Sunny, for
Sure.
stepping in with the context. The context is important, right? I want to just put on the record that this struggle is not just about an FPIC protocol. The present concern over the FPIC protocol is not in isolation. And I say that because there has been a pattern of this government to reverse and change everything that has been done with the past administration. However painstakingly slow that was, there has been some advances. And, the Maya people have really invested in trying to get something done over the last 7 years. One of which I was talking about is the 2018 implementation agreement, where we built a roadmap for implementation. This included developing an FPIC protocol, and the FPIC protocol had to be mutually agreeable to both parties. Unfortunately, in the last, this past week, as you see, the government has unilaterally submitted an FPIC protocol to the Caribbean Court of Justice without any further discussions with the Maya people. In fact, they've gone so far as changing the commencement clause, which used to read that both the parties, the appellants and the government of Belize, would have to sign this agreement for it to take effect. Yeah. They have now changed that clause to say that this consent protocol takes effect upon the filing to the Caribbean Court of Justice, which, without any consultation with us on the recent revisions, they basically have, in an ironic move, completely disregarded the free, prior, and informed consent of the appellants, and they've pretty much closed the door to undertake any further discussions with us.
Christina, I think an important point here, because we want everyone to be able to understand exactly the point of view that the Maya Leaders Alliance and the Toledo Alcalde Association have been coming forward with your concerns. When you talk about the free, prior, informed consent protocol, why is this a critical step in moving forward with the full execution of the court's order?
If you understand, what the courts have affirmed is that Maya people are now landowners,
yes.
Right? Their land tenure is communal, but within that communal system, there are individual derivative rights to the members of the respective communities. And so if you're a landowner, if you're a property owner, then if somebody wants to come onto your land to exploit its resources, to profit from its resources, or to enjoy its use, whatever the case might be, they would have to ask the landowner for permission, for approval, for consent. And the landowner could you know, base that consent on certain conditions that is in the best interest of the landowner.
Yes.
The same should and must be afforded to the Maya people now as communal landowners. And so the EFIC protocol is really important for us because it is the framework, it is the guide that that helps the government and other proponents to know how it is that they are to engage the Maya people and the Maya communities to seek their free, prior, and informed consent. It is a document. It's based on the principle and international standard that basically protects indigenous communities and territories from being exploited. So a lot of times the way that the government projects it is that an EFIC protocol would stand in the way of development. All right, and a lot of people actually believe that when they say that. The reality is that the EFIC protocol is supposed to protect the Maya people from further exploitation. It doesn't at all prevent development from happening. In fact, it could enhance the way that development happens. It would set out very clear procedures. How is it that you engage with the Maya people? Who are the decision makers? What do you need to do in terms of providing the relevant information so that the communities can make informed decisions. And I think
let me pause for a second here and ask a quick question, Christina. How important is the Toledo Alcaldes Association as a representative body and the Maya Leaders Alliance in terms of this particular process and its engagement with the chair of the commissioner, the commission, and of course the government of Belize?
They are very important, Isani. As you know, this is not the first time you're hearing about the Toledo Alcaldes Association, although it caught me by surprise that the government seems to want to now define what Maya institutions are, because I did see the press release that was sent out by the minister and by the commissioner, and I was very surprised that they took the position that, you know, they as far as they're concerned, they say they don't believe that a Maya governance institution exists. Well, it is not, the belief of the government is irrelevant. It's not what you believe. It is not the role of the government to define Maya institutions. The Toledo Alcaldes Association is the collective body in which the respective alcaldes of all the Maya communities organize themselves, and they're not equivalent, for instance, to a nonprofit organization. They are the collective governance institution of the Maya people, and they've been in existence for a long time. In fact, the Toledo Alcaldes Association, and this is probably something that this commission and commissioner and ministry struggles with. The Toledo Alcaldes Association have championed the Maya land rights struggle for the last 30 years, right? Sure, it has had support from various organizations, but the reality is that you cannot equate an indigenous people's governance institution with just any organization. It is the self-determination of indigenous people that affords them the right to define their own representative institutions. And nobody else can claim that kind of representation other than the Toledo Alcaldes Association. Each and every alcalde is elected by their communities to represent them, to listen to them, to be an ambassador to the decisions that the community itself has made. And so we're very clear that it is the community members by way of community meetings. That's the fundamental authority for decision making. But that decision is represented through their alcaldes, through their traditional leaders.
Allow me a quick follow-up question here, Christina. On Friday during your press conference, you made mention that the TAA has essentially been omitted from what should perhaps be its rightful place in this process, and of course by extension the inclusion in the protocol going forward. You see this as a grave insult to the work that the Toledo Alcaldes Association has been doing as you've mentioned, for the past 30 years. Can you expand on that for us a bit?
Absolutely. So the Toledo Alcaldes Association is not trying to make decisions for the respective communities. In the protocol, the way that they were included was basically to define that the Maya people have their own representative institutions. We also used the Toledo Alcaldes Association in the protocol to say that, for instance, if a development came to the south and it would affect multiple communities, right? Rather than go to, let's say you're drilling for oil and you wanted to go to, you say, you know, I'm only gonna drill for oil in Laguna Village, but the mere activity of drilling for oil is going to have adverse impacts on multiple communities, not just Laguna Village. And so then you would have to consult and engage with all the affected Maya communities. And how are they organized? How do you do that? Yeah. Well, they have a collective representative institution, the Toledo Alcaldes Association. And that is the medium through which then you would provide the notice and the request for a preliminary meeting. That is the organizing body that would bring the affected Maya communities together. Yeah. But what we see is an erosion of that. And it's not the role of the government to decide how we want to organize ourselves. If that is how the Maya communities want to organize themselves, then the government has to respect and honor that. But what we see is an attack, an assault on the Toledo Alcaldes Association, and an erasure of any mention of them in the document at all. And so the way that the government then misleads and frames it is to say that, well, the Toledo Alcaldes Association, the alcaldes themselves want to make the decisions on their own. That is not so, but there are consistent meetings of the Alcaldes Assembly where they discuss matters that affect all the communities broadly. And then they take that back to their respective communities, and the community themselves make their decisions, and it's represented at the assembly through their alcaldes. No, that's not to say that the system is perfect, but it is a system that has sustained the Maya communities for a long, long time, and it is the way that Maya people describe their governance institution.
Yeah. And Belize has such an interesting model. I think that's something to be identified, where alcaldes are acknowledged within our governance structure, as well as village council leaders who are also elected officials. So let me come back to this for a second. The concerns being raised by the free and prior informed consent protocol submitted to the CCJ by the government of Belize is several things that you have identified. One, we're talking about the exclusion of the Association of Alcaldes, the Association of Maya village leaders. But there's also the consideration that, in fact, who from the Maya community was consulted in the final draft of the protocol that was submitted.
We're not sure, right? We don't know who they consulted. They are saying that they consulted. They certainly did not consult the Toledo Alcaldes Association and the Maya Leaders Alliance. After the last compliance hearing in November, even after the guidance of the court basically told them, you have to sit with the other parties, right? You have to sit with the TAA and the MLA, and you have to come to some kind of mutually agreeable protocol before you submit it to the court. At no point, all of November, all of December, all of January, we learned of it on the day that they filed to the CCJ, which was, I believe, on the 27th of this month. And so, that just tells you that the government is unwilling. They seem to be unwilling to engage with us. I think that if they had engaged with us, there is no doubt that we would have been open to dialogue on this, on the new revisions, and see where are the concerns, what are the issues, what still needs to be worked out, and then be able to come to some kind of mutual agreement that would move the process forward, because we do want to move the process forward.
Let me ask
but
you
we cannot We cannot just accept these unilateral decisions. And the FX protocol is just one example of
Yeah, but wasn't the protocol supposed to have been agreed upon by both parties? Wasn't that kind of the terms of establishing the protocol?
Exactly, and they're completely ignoring that.
So are they ignoring it, or did they choose other parties to consult with? I will have to get into it. I know Satim has come forward along with the Ketchic Council of Belize, saying that, in fact, the Maya Leaders Alliance and the Toledo Alcalde Association aren't the only entities who represent the Maya community. Could it be that perhaps these other groups may have been consulted with? Are you aware?
Let me put it like this, Marlene, and yes, we do have to get into it. And I would like to be very, very, very pointed in how I get into it. Basically, this is an attempt of the government to undermine the Maya people's rights to determine their own institutions, all right? It is like this. If I were to come to you as the government and say, you know what, I am going to negotiate with you. We've been in court for 30 years now, and you have been, of course, the party on the other side. But when it comes to the implementation now, I want to make sure that the leader of the opposition is the one that is right there with you, making the decisions. And I want to see that you have consulted every single member of your constituency before we make this decision. Essentially, that is what is happening. These organizations, let me talk first about the Toledo Maya Cultural Council. You know, the Toledo Maya Cultural Council historically was a very powerful organization, did a lot of work in the beginnings of this social movement under the leadership of Juliancho. They championed the Maya movement in the mid-1990s. Unfortunately, after Julian's passing, there became a void in leadership. You will recall other leaders took on for some time, including Mr. Valentino Schall, including Mr. Alfonso Cal. And so you will see that a lot of leaders took it on. Unfortunately, as is the case with many grassroots organizations like that, it really is dependent on how active the leadership is, resources that are available to them. The TMCC became dormant for a long, long time. The TMCC became non-existent, right? And the same is true for the Ketchic Council of Belize. These organizations have been dormant for more than a decade, and they haven't been part of the continued movement. What you will see is that the Toledo Alcaldes Association, because it is not an NGO, they've remained with their people. The alcaldes have been consistent. They have been the ones really maintaining the continuity of this struggle on behalf of the Maya people. And then you will see new organizations, including the Juliancho Society, who have continued to support the Toledo Alcaldes Association, but by no means are the organizations that are at the fore. It is the Toledo Alcaldes Association. You have organizations like Satim, who, as far as I know, every time, and Mr. Chuck and I sat on the same side for many, many years and led this movement together. And for all those times, every time we've asked what Satim's position is, we have always consistently been told that they are not a predominantly Maya organization, and therefore they are not a member of the Maya Leaders Alliance. The Maya Leaders Alliance used to be an alliance of Maya organizations, all right? But the Maya Leaders Alliance is not static, it's dynamic. We're responding to the realities of our times. And so the Maya Leaders Alliance has gone through a lot of a transformation over the years, when we saw that many of the organizations, when we went to court, for instance, many of the organizations that still existed in 2007, when we took the first case, basically told us, you know what, this is too controversial. We cannot sign on to this lawsuit.
Let me break you.
Including. organizations like the YCT, organizations like the Toledo Cacao Growers Association. There were many. And so what was left was the Toledo Alcaldes Association. And they have been the ones, the parties, the appellants to this case, who have continuously maintained their leadership.
Allow me to break for a second here, Christina. And I know that I've asked you this question on another forum before, but again, I'll ask for the sake of the persons who are watching. In the past, when you were going to court to try to, get a definitive position on whether or not the Maya community, the indigenous community, does actually have rights, land rights, communal land rights, there was a point where you were being pretty much asked to prove your citizenship or your status as actual Belizeans and not necessarily persons who are coming over from the Guatemalan side of the border. I can recall that from the previous administration. But with this new administration, an entire ministry or an entire department was set up to deal with indigenous affairs, which one would say was a nod in the right direction. But now you're here once again, and the matter seems as divisive as it was in the past, as polemic as it has ever been.
That's absolutely true. We were very encouraged, in fact, when we saw that this government took an interest and a focus on developing a ministry specifically to look at indigenous people's issues. But there are risks, right? We see other countries where such ministries exist, but without a very clear mandate, without understanding what is the role of this ministry. That is really, really dangerous. And what we see right now is that there's been this sort of mix, right? Indigenous issues it cuts across many different areas of the government's work. I mean, we have issues in education, we have issues in health, we have issues in infrastructure. And so you have this one ministry. Is it a convening body? Is it where it brings all the various and relevant agents of government to address the diversity of issues? Or is it, a ministry where you just dump all the indigenous issues? That's where we put them, whether or not they're addressed or not. And so we were concerned, first of all. I think it was a good move. I still think it's a good move. I think that there is an opportunity for this government to create a legacy that would really show their good faith commitments to empowering their citizens, including indigenous people, and protecting the rights of their indigenous communities. No, the issue that we face right now is that there's a pattern to completely reverse any kind of advancements that have been made. The government, for instance, attempted to throw out the Maya customary land tenure policy, which the court had to admonish them and say, no, you can't do that. They attempted to completely reverse the delimitation principles and methodology, which is the methodology that's guiding the mapping process to identify where these territories are. They attempted to unilaterally put their own FPIC protocol, completely, ironically, disregarding the free prior informed consent of the Maya people. And so you see this pattern, right? And going back to Marlene's question, you also see the government sowing seeds of division among our people. Mm-hmm. And they are waking up these organizations that have been dormant for so long. And we saw, it's not surprising that it was upon the appointment of the commission that these organizations were awoken. We saw congratulatory letters the day after, right? And we were like, well, these organizations haven't been existing for a long, long time. And then when we were finally introduced by the commissioner to who these organizations were, we were shocked to see who the membership were.
Let me come back. I want to maximize just the time we have left to get into to some of the details of the protocol itself. So you had your press conference on Friday. The government was quick to respond. They are saying, and set very specific timelines, saying they consulted with all these groups, including MLA, up until November 2021. So I don't think they're claiming that they've had further consultations since then. But let's get into the concerns that you have with the protocol that has been submitted. This is I think you used the example earlier of oil drilling, for example. So this is the how, the who, the what determines, who determines the decision as to whether or not development activity or any type of activity will take place on lands that are deemed to be Maya communal lands. Very important, because if I go in there as a blind investor, I don't know who to go to, where to go, and how to go about engaging. This protocol will give me basically an outline of how to do so. So let's talk about what's been submitted and what are some of your major concerns.
Well, our major concerns is with the revisions that have been provided, right?
Okay.
Up to November, there was a draft that was submitted. There was a previous draft that was submitted, and we presented our inputs to that. Of course, just as the pattern is, we don't learn of these things until we go to court. Of course, we submitted our inputs. We were led to believe at the last compliance hearing in November that the government was considering our inputs and incorporating them into the now new revisions. We were told at that compliance hearing that the government had hired experts to help them to further incorporate these inputs and make sure that we have a mutually agreeable consent protocol. They have since hired those experts, and we know that the experts had come to meet with the cabinet. That's what we were told at the last compliance hearing. And we have seen their expert submit this FPIC protocol that they've now said is final. But at no point after November did they discuss the revisions with us. And we find that very disturbing, because the court told them that it's very clear that they need to speak with the TAA and with the MLA. And some of the main things, again, we have to take the time needed to really sift through what are these revisions, what has changed, what was incorporated, what was not. Of course, they offer no reasons or no explanation as to what has been incorporated or what has not been incorporated. Yeah. But there are two issues we take with it, just on surface right now. One is that it continues to undermine the Maya people's right to determine their own institutions. By completely erasing TAA, you are basically saying, you know what, I will decide who your representation is. And by substituting where the MLA once was in the document to read supporting organizations or supporting entities, that is so vague. That could be anybody, right? And it is a further erosion then, or an undermining of the people's right to choose their own representatives.
If I could just get a moment of clarity there. Is it that this terminology of supporting institutions cannot be used to include the Toledo Alcaldes Association? Or is there a greater concern that these smaller and newer associations will also be included? I'm trying to get clarity as to what, perhaps there is an opportunity for the TAA to be included in this terminology, in this term that's used.
You see, but it's not about an opportunity to be included, okay? The TAA is a part of the Maya communities. It is an organ of the Maya communities. It is their governance institution. It's not just an organization, and so it cannot be equated to other organizations. Of course, the Maya people should reserve the right to bring in their own technical, legal, experts at any given time during the consultations, during talking to any developers. They have that right, and that is where supporting entities would be included, including SATIM if they wanted to support a community. But that is not the same as a people's governance institution, right? And the principle of free, prior, and informed consent, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, where it comes from, at the center of free, prior, and informed consent is a self-determination, and self-determination allows indigenous people to name their own representative institution.
Yeah.
And what that means then is that the system that has existed with the Maya people is through the Toledo Alcaldes Association, through the alcalde system.
Yeah.
And that is just not coming out in the documents at all. In fact, it is being completely removed.
Well, as
And
the
that is
press
dangerous.
release says from the government, we do not believe that there is such collective governance system of the Maya people. Customary governance is based at the village level, and as such, the authority to make decisions resides solely in meetings convened by village members and not a collective or association.
So we don't disagree that the decisions are made at the village meeting. That is what the protocol says, and that part of it we agree with. A substantive part of the protocol we agree with, but it's a 20% that they're trying to change that could really be dangerous for the Maya people. So when they say we do not believe that there is a collective governance institution, what you are basically telling people is this, and this is the divide and conquer that is very dangerous. We are stronger together than we are apart. And so if you want to go and talk to individual villages and you want to separate them from the way that they collectively organize, then you stand a chance of really exploiting them, right? That's the risk that exists there. The FPIC protocol is supposed to be a safeguard. It's supposed to protect indigenous people from further exploitation. And one way that it does so is when you're able to talk to all of us together. We get all the same information, because what we have seen in the past, US Capital, for example, used to go to communities, tell one community one set of things, go to another community and say, oh, the other community don't agree, and we've already agreed to certain things. You're the last one you should agree to. And so you see, we have very different windows of opportunity for exploitation, and that is not the spirit of FPIC. FPIC is supposed to protect from these kinds of exploitation. Now, if you had TAA involved and they were organizing the communities and we're acting collectively and we're taking a collective front, it is harder for proponents then to exploit, and really the risks then for the indigenous peoples become less.
Christina.
And so you will see how they're trying to divide indigenous leadership.
Christina, you've
Go
made
ahead,
it very clear, and the release has also highlighted the fact that once the document, having received the approval of the government of Belize, is filed with the CCJ, it becomes the official FPIC document for use. Is there anything that can be done to either thwart the process or to revisit the process at the CCJ level? Would they be able to get involved and say, look, there wasn't sufficient consultation with the other members of the party for this to be held as the official document?
Absolutely. I don't think the CCJ is going to accept what the government has unilaterally offered. I think the CCJ will remind them of what they've repeatedly said. Look, you cannot, if you expect to succeed, if you expect to really advance, you have to make sure that you are in dialogue with the Maya representatives. And this is not a mutually agreeable protocol. So in the government's mind, they're going to try to force, but the CCJ, I think, will see right through it. And of course, we are going to raise objections. And so this is not, we do not accept and we reject that this is the protocol that is going to be finalized. We are reviewing it at the moment, and we are going to provide to both the government and the court our inputs on the new revisions. And just for clarity, one of the other things that we see already is that there is language now in the protocol that drastically dilutes the obligation of the government to obtain free, prior, and informed consent. Mm-hmm. And I think at the press conference I made mention that they are using more the language of consultation. So it's almost like we will give you notice, but the end result is not consent. And that is dangerous because the whole point of FPIC is to receive consent. That has to be the end goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now there's a big difference between saying I consult with you versus I got your approval, which is what consent would be. But I think though one of the issues that will come to the forefront is more so the division that seems to be coming to the forefront from the Maya communities. What's the MLA's plan moving forward when you have organizations coming forward and essentially saying, these are my words, not the press releases, you don't speak for us. It puts out a public message that people now look at the division within the Maya communities than the ongoing process that's taking place with the government. Do you have plans to be able to meet with these other entities, perhaps to get some sense of agreement to move forward and have one consolidated view on how the rest of this process will unfold?
Marlene, you know that one of our greatest strengths and the reason that we have been so successful over the last 30 years as we have gone to the courts, as we have gotten those very historic judgments, has been because we have been a united people. And so it's not surprising that our unity is under attack, right? We have never been close to talking to any organizations. We think that anybody that wants to help is welcome to help, but you have to be legitimately trying to help. You also can't just be siding with the government or sympathetic with the government, because essentially what you're doing is, especially if you are creations of the government, it is going to be very dangerous. It's again, the government is basically putting organizations on this side of our table and saying, I want to hear from all of you and I want all of you to make decisions. And so knowing full well that they control what some of these entities would decide. So that's dangerous for us. We are open to speaking with anybody that takes a vested interest in really promoting the protection of Maya people's rights, particularly land tenure rights. But we want to be very careful as well to know that, these very organizations that say, well, we represent Maya communities too, right? Just as they are saying to us, you can't speak on our behalf. Well, who are you representing, right?
So
who is the TMCC representing? Who is the KCB representing?
Yeah.
Who is Satim representing? And they say,
Christina, stick up in there for a second, if you may. Speak to us about what seems to be a clear contention between Satim and MLA TAA. Beyond the press release that was issued on Friday, the new executive director for Satim has also come forward in other parts of the media to speak on this particular matter. Is it that the MLA and Satim have ever worked closely together in the past, or is this dissension something that has been there for a while? Because there's also certain allegations being made in that press release from Satim on Friday with respect of monies and the accountability for that monies.
Okay, so yes, in the past, certainly, while Satim was not necessarily a member of the Maya Leaders Alliance, we have worked together. At the very minimum, Satim would always show their solidarity to the Maya movement. So I don't know what has changed. The only thing that I can point to is that now Satim seems to be joining the government in their positions to negate the responsibility to recognize Maya people's collective institutions, to recognize the Toledo Alcaldes Association and its existence. And I can only see that, we know what the elephant in the room is, right? The executive director of Satim is the daughter of the Commissioner of Indigenous Peoples. And so it must be a difficult place to be. At the same time, it is not to say that we wouldn't be open to working with Satim, but we have to be very clear that the Toledo Alcaldes Association is not equivalent to an organization like Satim. It is superior. It does have a role to play in the decision making within the communities, guiding that process, because they are a collective of alcaldes who are elected by their representative villages. No, Satim can't claim that kind of representation. Neither does the JCS. And I know that the things were said about the JCS as an organization. For the last 5 years, we have been acting on the request of the Toledo Alcaldes Association as the secretariat of the Toledo Alcaldes Association. And so we carry the fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we are fundraising, to make sure that we provide the necessary human, financial, and technical support, including legal support, to the Toledo Alcaldes Association. And so, yes, we do have a project, a grant, after the government told us that they didn't have any money and that's why they can't implement. We committed to fundraise for the implementation of this consent order, and we were successful in doing so. We have been able to get the land tenure facility to provide the necessary funding for the mapping that is ongoing in our communities, and necessary funding to support the implementation. And that is, by way of contractual agreements between a donor and an organization. And Satim knows very well how this works. So for them to say, well, you had to ask Satim permission, or you had to ask these, newly, woken up organizations before you can accept or sign a contract. Listen, we have many donors as NGOs, and they know how it works. And so the beneficiaries are, of course, the Maya communities and the Toledo Alcaldes Association directly.
So, we expect that from the press release on Friday, the government did say that the minister and the commissioner would be addressing the media. We're awaiting further information from them. Just from your perspective, do you think this is going to be yet another matter that will have to be resolved by the courts? Or are
Absolutely.
you able to work out a solution with the government and the commission?
I think with the the bodies that exist right now, presently, who are charged with the responsibility to move the implementation along on behalf of the government, that is the commissioner and the ministry. If it remains that these are the bodies that will continue to act to try to move this along, I think that we have reached an impasse. I think that we do need an intervention from the court. I look forward to their press conference. I just received a notification that they're having their press conference at 11 o'clock today. And so I would like to listen in and see what the good minister and what the commissioner has to say with regard to their latest move. But for sure, the Maya people will put out a statement in response to what we will hear, because I imagine that there's going to be a lot of I don't want to preempt what they're going to say, but I know that we will have to respond to it. That said, I think that it is important that the broader government of Belize looks at the implications this will have on their relationship with the Maya people. The Maya people are losing very quickly the confidence in the government. We are losing trust. It's already a volatile situation, and our people are becoming very, very impatient. And so, we always want to promote amicable solutions, friendly relationships with our government. We're always open, but we see some obstruction, and we think that this government has to make the Maya land tenure implementation a priority, a real priority, and take a concerted effort to really put the pieces in place. I would encourage them to come back to the table with us, to take it seriously, and to bring the decision makers, because it can't continue to be this way. We spent 7 years with the previous administration. Now a whole year has passed with this new administration, and we're still in the same place. We're still stuck.
Well, Christina, as you said, the government will be providing further information from their perspective this morning. And of course, we appreciate hearing from you directly your concerns about the protocol that has been submitted and also responding to the allegations being made. Thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll hear from you again.
Thank you as well. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and I look forward to another invitation. Thank you so much, Isani and Marlene.
All right. And with that, we are going to go ahead and take a break.
When we come back, it is to kick off the Chinese New Year.
Woohoo.
El Año del Tigre.
Okay. Well, we'll figure out how to say that in Chinese after the break, so please stay tuned.
Working off-site doesn't mean you have to be off your game. Studies have shown that simply adding a keyboard and mouse to your laptop increases productivity by 26%. Add a monitor and you'll be 35% more productive. At Fulltech Systems, we have what you need to enhance your remote work or e-learning experience. With devices such as headsets, video conferencing monitors, webcams, keyboards, mice, docking stations, all with the brands you trust. Keep connected with collaboration tools like Microsoft 365 Suite and Kaspersky and perform efficiently no matter where you are. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Las tradiciones son atemporales, pero mantenerse al día es necesario. DigiWallet me permitirá hacer todas mis compras favoritas. Es fácil y seguro. Solo es agregar dinero a mi DigiWallet y ya puedo irme de compras en mis tiendas locales favoritas. Oye tú, a mi familia le encanta. A mí también. Es nuestra nueva tradición. DigiWallet, próximamente.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Buying a car should be a great experience, and St. John's Credit Union wants to make it even better. But we offer more than just great low rates. We make the application process easy and make sure our members get the best service possible. At St. John's Credit Union, we offer excellent products backed by exceptional service. So the next time you are buying a new or used vehicle, take advantage of St. John's Credit Union's Drive Forward Auto Loan product. We'll put the buying power in your hands. Come and drive forward with our auto loans with rates as low as 9% and low or no down payments. Drive forward with St. John's Credit Union. Some restrictions apply.
The ministry is collaborating with SpeedNet Communications to have a vaccination campaign for children ages 12 to 17 years. Children who get vaccinated will get a chance to win fabulous prizes, including backpacks with supplies, Nintendo Switch, tablets, book tuitions, and MiFi with 3 months data. Only children 12 to 17 years old can participate in this smart and Ministry of Health and Wellness raffle. At vaccination sites, each vaccinated child, upon being vaccinated, will receive a ticket to place their name, age, date of birth, BHIS number, and contact information on, which will be filled out by a parent or legal guardian. The sooner a person vaccinates, the more chances he or she will have to win. Get vaccinated, Belize! Vaccination saves lives.
connecting people. Creating memories.
Hey guys, so here we are at the Glaze Out Kitchen. I just prepared this amazing broccoli.
Sharing a smile. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Following the COVID-19 vaccination, some people may experience side effects such as soreness at the injection site, chills, nausea, body aches, or a fever. But these symptoms go away after a few days. These side effects are a result of your immune system responding to the vaccine and are not a sign that you are sick with COVID-19. The COVID-19 vaccines will not give you COVID. When you receive your vaccine, the health worker will advise you what to take if you are experiencing any of these side effects. Remember, these mild side effects cannot compare to you not being able to share memorable moments with your family and friends if you fall gravely ill from COVID. Vaccines bring us closer.
If you're looking for low-cost television advertising, have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you save valuable time and money. Call us today at 223-0146 or visit us at our offices on Pony Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
And welcome back. We have been joined in studio by chef and of course artist Yaoling Lee as we get ready to kick off the new year in the Chinese calendar. Good morning, Yao
Good
Ling.
morning. Good morning. Good morning.
It is the year of, well, sorry, thank you, chef. Is there any food dye involved today?
Sorry.
Any dye? Any food coloring?
No, not
no
that.
blue and pink today.
No. We
Okay.
don't play with doll. But on the other hand, yes, we're going to play with something like arts and craft again.
Okay.
And not dye color. Yeah. Yes.
All right, but it's so great to have you.
Yeah. I'm still sleeping. Sorry.
I noticed.
Okay. Yeah. Relax.
So it's a happy new year. It's a new year.
Yes, it's a new year.
Okay. Tell us, we were talking about the year of the tiger.
Yes. It's a new year. Yeah. Well, I was talking to you. Say, I might tell you a little story about New Year. In year in Chinese mean Nian. Nian actually. Well, I Google a little bit just like last time, so I can make sure I can explain to you. Like a long time ago in Chinese, ancient time. That's what happened when the costume developed, and right now. Well, that's what they say. I don't know if it's true or not. They say there's a monster, a beast, and his name is Nian. And right before the New Year, every beginning of the New Year, he go out. He just came out from the mountain somewhere. I don't know. Then he go and bully people, bully, and also chasing people and do a lot of damage things. But this monster, he's scared of the red things. Like, so now you can see those decorations.
So that's why we have all the red decorations.
Right, and also that monster afraid of loud noise. And that's white people that make firecrackers and fireworks, so that you see so loud.
Get away.
Right, and also light, bright light, as I know. So it will be like early morning bright light. So, or some, I don't know, some sort of light. Yeah. And that's what happened with, that's why people celebrate. Also, they eat a lot. And also gathering with family, relative. Yeah. And then they also go to temples, different temples. That my parents, I remember when I was little, my parents, they go to different temples in Taiwan. In Taipei, we live in Taipei. So they visit temple and just pray. I think it's not only pray for the good fortune, but pray for good health, prosperity, and just wish everyone is healthy and well, doing good, in the next new year. And what else? Oh, I remember when I was little, something that I really like is that every New Year, my parents they buy new clothes, brand new. Yes, we buy usually, but that is something that's special. New Year, just like Christmas Eve. Yeah. So we can only wear those clothes the first of the New Year. Yeah. So and then that morning you will hear those firecrackers and fireworks, boom, boom, boom. In the early morning, like past midnight, and the whole day is like that. It's quite amazing. I remember nobody's doing that right now.
In Belize, I know that the celebration of the Chinese New Year, a lot of the guys go from store to store with
with a lion dance. Yeah. There's also dragon dance as well. Yeah. So it's a lot of celebration. But I wonder what they're going to do right now because of COVID-19. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Maybe it's just a smaller dragon, less people.
Wear a mask.
Yeah, dragon with mask. That's a big mask already. But that's part of what it's doing. It's chasing away Nian.
Yeah, exactly.
With the noise, with the dancing,
the lights.
And the lights. And one of the things that we know, as you mentioned before, the start of the new year, there's a lot of talk about good fortune, prosperity. But it sounds very similar to our new year, where we make resolutions for just a better year ahead.
Yes.
Better than we've had the year before.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And there's also lots of food.
Oh yeah,
that part I love.
Yeah, I love it. So, well, as you all know, I'm not a professional. I'm just
Well, I bestowed the honor of chef on you earlier, right?
We just love having you here. So even if we have to sample your attempt at cooking, we'll take it.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. So you see the layout. So what we're going to do today is huntun soup. Not necessary is a Chinese New Year celebration food, but it's something very comfort food. I might say that. So you see, lately the weather's been kind of chilly, you know, cold. So I think it might be good to make a huandun with you, so you can share this with your family, especially the young kids. They will love it.
Okay.
So I brought some ready-made huandun.
You made this?
Yeah, I made first time.
Okay,
so
good.
if I can do it, everyone can do it.
Wow, look at that.
It's a frozen.
They're so perfectly shaped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a flower. So like we're going to do some arts and craft shortly. Yeah, some eatable arts and craft.
Okay, good.
So we're waiting for the water to boil.
Okay.
Then we can make the huandun. We were going to add some green onions and also a egg. That will be the huandun soup.
Okay.
And then what?
And that's just plain water.
Plain water. You can. It's better if you can prepare some broth, chicken broth or bone, you know, whatever, and that will add some flavor.
Okay.
On the other hand, I will need you to prepare the fried huandun.
Oh,
I have never done it. That's why I want you to do it.
She loves making us guinea pigs, right?
So we're going to have a ground beef right here. It's ready
so
here.
people use beef or they use pork, right?
You can use whatever you want. You can use vegetable tofu as well. And if you don't eat pork, you can use beef. And then you can use seafood as well.
Okay.
Or vegetable. So we're going to chop ginger here.
All right.
And a clove of garlic.
Okay.
Maybe 3. And just a piece of cabbage.
Okay.
And maybe 1/3 of this. And then yeah, we go step by step.
So we what? Chop it how?
We chop. You want me to show
small
you?
pieces. Yeah, you're
it's
probably better at this than I am.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Not much because ginger is just to add the flavor. So just a little bit. Yeah, I have 3 kids, so I cook. No, not like professional.
The chopping mechanism down, right?
Yeah.
So the ginger just to add some flavor. I really love ginger. I cook everything with ginger. So have to chop it really fine. So then we add this one here.
Add that in there.
All right. Clove of garlic. This one. Okay.
That's right.
Right
There
here.
we go.
Maybe 2. Oh, this is not good. Okay, we'll use this one. Well, we need some, you know, we're talking about the year of tiger, 2022.
Yes.
Yeah. So we need the year of tiger, I mean brave and growth. So it is a good sign that I think hopefully we're close to the end of pandemic.
Well, let's hope so. We're all waiting for the pandemic.
I think
to
it
be
is,
over.
yeah, but still we need to pay attention and practice social distancing and what is it?
Wear
mask. Yeah. And don't hug people, although I love hugging people, but
Me too.
we try not to do that.
That's what I can look forward to at the end of the
traditional way
pandemic.
of greeting people, right?
Yeah. So we got garlic and ginger, and we're going to chop a piece of this. It will add some texture.
All right, so come back to it now.
Yeah.
We're talking about the year of the tiger. So we've done this a few times.
Yeah.
The story goes kind of like a mythical story in Chinese culture.
A folklore.
That there was a race.
Yes.
Thank you.
Really? I don't know about. Tell me about this.
Oh my gosh, that's not so much as I can say. And there were lots of animals, and some did better than others. I know there's a rat, tiger.
Oh yeah, the 12 animal. Oh yes. I thought you
What
talking
did you
about.
think I was talking about?
Yeah. Okay. You never know what I'm going to say.
That's true. That's true.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I think it's enough for the for this here. Yeah. Okay. I think just to add some crunchiness.
Okay. So go ahead. So the animals.
Oh, this
won
one.
the race.
Animal. Animal won the race. Oh, I born in the year of rooster.
The year of the rooster.
You cannot say chicken.
The year of the crow.
It doesn't sound good when you say, you know, I born in the year of chicken. It doesn't sound good. Just have to say rooster.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think just.
That's for this or for the soup?
This is the part we're going to make huandun.
Okay.
And this is the one going to cook the soup. That's why I
All right, so I seasoned this with salt and black pepper.
Yes. This is white pepper. I love flavor white pepper.
All of it?
No, I think just 1/3. 1/3 will be good.
1/3.
1/3. 1/3.
How about I just do
Are you still sleeping, Melanie? Okay.
How do you do 1/3?
1/3. I look at Isani, who's equally as lost, right?
Okay. It's a kind of messy, but I think when we do
I tend to
cooking.
not put enough salt.
Okay. So hold on, this one too.
Okay,
right.
good.
Okay.
So let's get back to it now. You are the year of the rooster. Do you know what year you are?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
All right. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm thinking about chive. This one. Are you talking about animals?
Yes, you're born in the year of the
Story.
rooster.
I know nothing about the story. Melanie, do you know anything about this story?
I would have thought that you're the historian that would have given us the whole story.
I'm the fake chef.
There is the great race. All right, good.
But just
Good thing we have images to be able to tell you more of the story, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This. Oh, so
There it is.
cute. Those images.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like the Chinese. It is the Chinese zodiac sign.
Oh, I don't know.
So what does it mean to be year of the rooster? Since you know your year at least.
The year of rooster.
What are the traits or what are
Someone
the
really
qualities?
brave
Okay.
and lead a team.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, I never surrender.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
And, oh, do you have a piece of paper? Brown paper?
Yes.
It's
Where is
right.
it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. So I think the
water is ready.
reason why I'm here is just to show you that never give up. We need to add. Oh, I forgot to bring soy sauce.
But you have sesame oil.
Sesame oil is fine.
I
If
love
you have
sesame oil.
yeah, so nice, so nice. My kids love it too.
Me too.
If you have soy sauce, you add some soy sauce to add a flavor. So some liquid will doing good too. So now the water is boiling. Well, now we had to cook the one doing I made.
Okay, so we're gonna throw those in there along with your green onion.
Green. Where is the green onion?
You just
I hate everything here. So.
Mine is all over the place this morning.
Yowling loves the kitchen, which is why we keep bringing her back. Yes.
Okay.
So how did you used to celebrate New Year's?
Not really.
How do you celebrate it now?
Now? Maybe I will make some food for my kids, but only one is here in Belize, two is abroad studying.
Yeah.
So to avoid chaos, sometimes I order food from Chinese. Oh yeah, okay.
Ready?
Yes, it's better. Be careful. You better go one by one. You want to try?
Okay, I'll do that. You keep cutting.
Okay.
And you tell us about celebrating the New Year.
Yeah. Well, also one thing that if you know in Chinese New Year tradition, we give those money red envelope.
Red.
If you can find it.
envelope.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
it about that. Oh, not here.
Yeah.
Again.
You want me
Here you
to? Oh, in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we need one egg.
One egg.
Yeah, can you make the egg? Like
In
a
here?
scrambled egg? No, right
Oh.
here in the soup.
In
But
here.
we need to wait until it boiling. We have to make it. Okay.
No, you have to scramble it in here.
Scramble it, not a
Sure.
whole egg. Yeah.
Okay.
So talk about well, when my kids are little, not right now, but it's a really nice tradition that those
Is that going
parents.
in?
Yes.
Cabbage?
Cabbage. You want a cabbage?
Does it go
here?
in there? I don't
No,
know.
it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I just chopped too
So
much.
when your children were little,
Yeah. Usually we have those light red envelope, and we put some money. Not a lot, just maybe $1, $2, $5, and just in the envelope give it to the kids. It's something like bring the good luck.
Okay.
And same thing, prosperity.
There we go.
yes, that's right.
Where do you want me
See,
to
people
put the
always
scrambled
think,
egg?
Oh, the scrambled egg will go to the pot, but we have to wait until the water is boiling.
Okay.
So yeah.
so just leave
All right,
that
so I'll
there.
leave this here
So we
for
leave
now.
it here. And now, okay, mission almost accomplished.
So
It's
now
a
we
mess.
make
It's a mess right now, but what we're going to do now is, okay, we're going to make the, what is it? Okay, here. These are the Huandun wrappers.
Okay.
It's slightly different than the tumbling wrapper.
Okay.
I think probably they are same. I'm not expert, but they just same, maybe thinner, and also
I
the
will
shape.
take
Yeah.
your
Square.
word for
The shape
it.
is like a slice of cheese.
Oh, yeah, but you can't eat it. Please don't eat it. It's cool. So let me show you. Let me show you how to do it. And you have to. Okay. So we use the small spoon. We need water as well. So Marlene, we need water to save.
Water?
Oh, great.
Okay.
So just a little. Let me come here. So just a little, not too much. Oops.
Oh,
what are you going to do?
I don't know what you're asking. Oh, you're showing me. Okay, go ahead.
So this Hundun, maybe less easier to, okay? Oops. So like, oh, it's hard, Marlene, you're killing me. Okay. So you put a glue.
Okay.
Water as the glue. Then you, the 4H, you just rub it up like this.
Yeah.
Then you hold it. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Hold it and squeeze it hard, and that's it.
Done.
See, that's so pretty.
Yeah, beautiful.
And make sure you sit it. That's why we add the water. And sit it there. So you will see pretty nice shape.
Okay.
That's the very important part.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we can have it right here. So go ahead. Yeah, let's see how,
All right, go ahead,
how you can do
Sunny.
it.
You start off.
We have another spoon.
All
as
right.
well.
Tell me if I'm adding a little too much meat or
This is nice.
that's fine?
Yeah, that's fine. And add the water. Yeah, just like a glue, you know. The water is boiling this way slightly more. Yeah. Four
Four corners, right?
Yeah,
the four
right.
edges.
Right. So then, you know, it's kind of really nice, soothing and comfort food. The weather like this, like today. Parents, you can make this for your kids. Yeah, and hold this one here, and just squeeze it. Good, and you just squeeze it.
Squeeze the middle.
Yeah, like I love you, and I'm suffocating you.
That's an interesting one.
Okay.
There we go.
It looks good too.
That's my best effort.
It's good too. It's good too. So you have to try.
Oh gosh, we're doing art.
You have to try. So the water is boiling right now, and
So your egg goes in.
yeah.
So you buy these pre-made, right?
Yes, there's wraps here.
Okay.
So the eggs right here. Oops. Let's do it like this. So it come out like a flowers. I hope you can see it. Okay. Doing good.
Yes. So
That's it.
this is not art, and you didn't bring in food coloring, but I understand you have some art projects going.
Yes,
You have your
yes.
website up.
This is the main reason I'm here.
Let's divert from Chinese
Food
New Year
preparation.
to talk
Yes,
about
I
Yao Ling.
compromise myself. So, okay, very important that I have just newly completed my website. I'm telling you, you are too kind. You have to squeeze it. Let me show you.
Squeeze it with love.
Okay. Okay, then right here.
All right. There we go.
Okay. I think you can
You
make
always
it.
tell me in art nothing is wrong.
Nothing is wrong, but I really want you to make it like a flower, like
Okay.
Huntun. You can learn. I can.
So
do-
it's not wrong.
No.
It just needs to look like a flower.
Flower.
See, like 2H here.
Okay.
I discovered it. Nobody told me, but I think it's a good trick to tell you.
Okay.
You hold it here,
Bunch.
and here, not a tip. Here, and you just.
Okay.
Okay,
And that's it.
All
There
right.
you go. All right.
That's it.
Let's try to make Yao Ling satisfied
The
as,
second one
as
will
an
be-
art teacher because
I'm very
she's going to be
stubborn.
teaching art.
Yeah, yeah.
The second
so
one will be the charm, Marlene. That
I
means
have
we'll
to
get it
teach you
this time
properly.
around.
This.
All
Yeah,
right.
good.
So go ahead. Your website.
My website.
What's happening with your website?
Check out my website. Can you show me the image of my website? yaolinli.com. YAOLING.
So why should I go to your website? What's there?
Because I want you to.
But why?
Why? Because there's a lot of beautiful artwork.
Okay.
that I want to share with you.
No,
like
you're
the food
telling
I'm
us what.
sharing with you too. Whatever I do it seriously. Maybe too much pressure, I don't know, but just squeeze it.
Bunch.
Yeah, not a tip, it's just there.
Bunch.
Yeah, and squeeze it here. Good. Okay, much better than the first one.
I have a feeling I would fail your art class.
No, but it's nice.
Okay.
Do a little touch. See.
There we go. Now we have the flower.
So pretty. So pretty.
Okay, so on your website, you have the display
There
of
we
your
go.
art.
Yes. Oh, yeah, much better. Remember just to squeeze it, just fast.
Squeeze it with love.
You know, just like, I want you to touch. Okay. My artwork, you can see, yeah, you see like this. Pretty.
That one is much better. Okay, let me try it again.
So,
Go ahead. So your artwork is on your website, and you
yeah.
also have an upcoming
workshop at the Banana Bank is a guest artist will be teaching along with Caroline Carr.
Wow.
Second week of when? We are January?
Yeah.
February.
February.
Yeah. At Banana Bank. Please contact Banana
So who
Bank.
is it for? Who can go to the workshop?
Anyone, especially if you love horses.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you are watching the image of my website. I have different category. So so you can go into, and this is the exhibit. What is it? The flyer. You can go to workshop, right? Go to workshop, and you can see the painting along with grades. That is the flyer for the upcoming workshop. I will be teaching one session, but it will be great to have all of you. And then March, oh, that's lovely, better,
Nice.
much better.
Yes.
And the following month, March, I'll be doing a workshop at the San Ignacio Atmosphere Gallery.
Okay.
I will share information lately in my website. So take a look at my website.
Okay.
And let me know if you have questions. So now the soup is ready. We need to add salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper to the soup.
Yeah.
And we're going to fry up our wonton.
Wonton, yeah. So to fry the wonton, we need a lot of oil. I'm just
So
trying.
who can go to your workshop? Are you looking for experienced artists or beginner artists? What are we talking about here?
Anyone,
Anyone, okay.
even a beginner.
I mean, if I know nothing, you've seen my artwork, right?
Yeah.
It's open
Okay.
to.
We need to. I have to come back and talk about our work properly because I can't concentrate. Okay, the oil is here.
It's on, yeah.
Okay. So everyone can go. This is organized by Caroline Carr's daughter, Lisa.
Okay.
So it will be great. And also because of COVID-19, we're trying to do outdoor.
Yeah.
So
You keep your distance.
yeah,
and all
right.
that
It's
stuff.
very important. Not everything stops. We have to remember life goes on. Life goes on, so we have to try our best and just be careful.
Yeah.
Wearing mask and wash your hand
And do it safely.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because you can't stop everything. We have to keep going, but we do it gradually. So. Oh, so good.
Look at that.
So good.
There you go.
And it will be good to add a little of sesame seed.
There you go.
Yeah, I put the
Sesame
salt and
oil.
pepper. Oh,
Yeah,
sesame
sesame
oil.
oil.
In that?
Yeah, when you eat it.
Oh,
So nice.
serving?
So,
Or
right
here?
here? Right here, usually right here. Okay, good. Oh, it smells so good. We are wearing
love
masks. We
sesame
can't.
oil.
We can't smell it.
I can smell the sesame oil.
yeah?
I love sesame
So
oil.
good.
Yeah.
So good. Guys, go and get those ingredients and make a soup for your family.
Warm up yourself this morning.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So easy though. I thought it was more complicated than
No,
that.
so easy. Everything I do is easy. Even I can do it, you can do it
You
too.
make it look easy.
Not sculpting, Yao Ling. I draw the line there.
I have to come back. I really have to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the third one.
So what other projects are you working on at the moment? I know you at one point used to work on your landscapes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm working in my studio lately. For those people who sometimes see me working, painting on the street or highway, those people won't see me. I've been painting in my studio for the last few months because I'm working on the studio painting and large painting based on my field study called planet painting.
Okay.
And so I've been doing 6 of them right now. So hopefully I can finish them before my upcoming workshop. And then after the workshop, I will start to go out and painting on the street again.
Okay.
And yeah, for those who want to see me painting on the street, highway, you will see me very soon. And also, I still have 2 postponed exhibition sponsored by Niche, which everything stopped before the lockdown. So I was doing a project of 5 exhibition with workshop.
Yeah.
And I did 3. I did 3. One a museum, British museum. Second one a banqueta, and banquet as well. And I have to do the one at the CICE San Ignacio, and also one at the San Pedro. So these are the work that I'm doing. Yeah. So yeah, just.
So you're going to continue doing those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Besides making you happy, come here to cook.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing.
And I think that we can help to make you into a master chef together.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Or we'll do food art next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That will motivate me.
Yeah.
To become a better person.
And or a better cook at least. All right, so what we got to do, that oil is still heating up. We got the wontons to fry, so we're going to take a quick break and we will be back, close off our cooking segment in just a few, so stay tuned.
Child Development Foundation, or CDF as we are popularly known, has been partnering with Social Security Board since 2015. Social Security Board supports our child protection initiatives. They support us to build capacity for teachers and parents to identify the indicators of abuse. In particular, they support our counseling center so that we can provide trauma-focused counseling therapy to children who have been abused. Social Security has also supported our prevention program, the Rise Girls program, to help us to equip young women who are in primary and secondary school to understand more about adolescent development and also to build good self-esteem and to build safe social networks.
Over the past 6 years, we have established a partnership with the Social Security Board. It has assisted us in addressing some of their social welfare needs and health care needs of our older persons, specifically in Belize City, San Ignacio, and Belmopan. We have had the opportunity to do home visits with our geriatrician and physiotherapists. We distribute meals to them. We also have that opportunity to interact with them, to observe them. There are needs that may be identified. If we can address those, we do so.
Social Security has been one of our biggest donors throughout the years, and the services that they provide to us is basically financial, and it helps with a lot of things here at the center, like bills and groceries. The center is a drop-in center for the mentally ill, elderly, homeless, deportees. They come here, they take a shower, they get their breakfast, they get their lunch, and they also do recreational stuff here at the center. They can watch television, they listen to music, they play games, and they just, interact with each other, because here it's like a family.
With eCash, bill payment is extremely convenient, and all utility companies accept eCash payments. What's even better? You get to split bills with your roommates, siblings, or whoever you desire. Simply open your eCash app, go to Bill Pay, tap the respective utility company, enter the information, and pay the bill. Then tap the transaction made. Tap Split the bill. Select Evenly. Send the request to who you are splitting the bill with, and get notified when they pay. Talk about making life easy and avoiding confusion. You can split the bill for restaurants, grocery stores, and for any eCash payment you make. To find your next yummy meal, hair treatment, or chill spot, simply open the app and utilize the geolocation service to see nearby businesses that accept eCash. Geolocation and bill payment make life a whole lot easier.
It's a fact that your credit lasts longer when using Smart. During these times, we're all trying to find ways to cut costs and save the little resources we have. With Smart, it's easy to do that. It's a fact that with Smart, your credit lasts longer. You can call Smart to Smart and Smart to Digi using your promo credit, while with the other guy, you can only call on-net, Digi, or BTL numbers. What does this mean? You get to call any national number using your promo credit. Your promo credit is free, so that call is also free. Know your facts. Don't be tricked by the other guy. Be smart and save your dollars.
We're back, and of course, still cooking and eating here as we celebrate Chinese New Year, the Year of the Tiger, with artist Yao Ling Lee. All right, Yao Ling, so we got some more cooking to do, but we got to close it off. But I do want to ask you to help us learn how to say Happy New Year for all our viewers.
Say, 新年 is New Year. 新年.
新年.
快乐 is happy.
快乐.
So, 快乐. So you put them together.
新年快乐.
新年快乐.
新年快乐. All right. And that,
新年快乐. There it is.
there you go. That's from all of us here at Channel 5. Yao Ling, thank you so much for coming on and attempting to do some cooking with us. We have some more cooking to get finished, but you also have your website officially launched and your workshop with Carolyn Carr coming up at Banana Bank. That's going to be amazing. How do people sign up?
Not sure. I have to ask Lisa.
It's on the website.
Yeah, right. I've been busy on
Yeah.
my work. So that is the good thing that when you're working with people, you
Yeah.
collaborate with a professional.
Yeah.
So I can focus on my part and she focus on her part. But it will be really nice. Yeah.
All right, there it is.
Yes.
And with that, we're going to go ahead, though, and wrap up our show. Thank you, Yao Ling. We want to thank Christina Coc for coming in and talking about the situation that is ongoing. There's a press conference from the government.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, coming up, so we'll be able to give you more information. But if you'd like to contact us, send us an email at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ and on Instagram at OYEBelize. Remember to tune in
Tomorrow,
at 6:30
when you open your eyes,
to start your morning right.
there we go.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind.
And your heart's open.
We'll see you soon. Enjoy your day, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.